Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Tuesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days as we have a cooling pattern coming through, and then we'll start to warm up again as we go into the weekend. So starting here with our satellite imagery, you can see some of that haze across the area from some Canadian wildfire smoke that drifted across the area yesterday over the last couple days. You can see some of that still off there over Idaho and Montana. You can see some mid-level clouds moving north across western Washington today with these high clouds offshore that will be moving in, and the marine layer, of course, there on the coast, keeping it nice and cool out there. Otherwise, mostly sunny, but potentially a little bit of a redder tint to the sun with some of that smoke aloft moving out of the area pretty quickly. Very light layer of smoke, so light that I'm not even going to show a forecast model for it because you can barely even tell. But you can see it a little bit when you look at some of the sunset. So this was yesterday. I got these photos from my drone here in Federal Way. You can see there's a bit of a red tint in the evening there, but nothing compared to some of the smoke we will probably have later this summer if fire season goes on as expected, as we usually have. But you can see a little bit of red on the sunset last night, and you could probably see it on the sunrise the last couple mornings as well. Taking a look at our overall pattern here, you can see we have this brief ridging across the area that weakens as we go into tomorrow. We get a little bit of troughing in here through Thursday and Friday, and then take a look as we go into this weekend. Watch this ridge build offshore and push inland a little bit. That's going to bring us some pretty nice warm temperatures for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we'll take a look at that here in a minute. You can see with this ridge just to our north there as we go into Monday, that is a prime location for some nice hot weather across parts of the Northwest. So taking a look at precipitation type here, you can see potential for a few thunderstorms across the Cascades this afternoon and evening. And then you can see as we go into Wednesday morning, we have some showers across the area. Morning into midday there should diminish as we go into the evening, and then another round of showers as we go into Thursday afternoon and evening. And both of those rounds of showers should only bring a few hundredths of an inch of rain, which we'll look at here in just a second. And then you can see after Friday we dry out. There are not even any showers in the mountains, and will remain dry through the weekend. Taking a look here at total precipitation through Friday there, you can see about 5 to 6 hundredths of an inch of rain there, up to a tenth of an inch along the coast, and maybe up toward a third of an inch for parts of the Cascades. Not very much rain at all. It'll just be probably a couple hours or so of drizzle and maybe some brief showers, and that'll be it. You won't really notice all that much. Some areas may not receive any rain at all. Just a few more hundredths of an inch, and likely that is our last rain of June. And then taking a look here at lightning flash density, you can see a few thunderstorms possibly across parts of some of the Cascades of King County this afternoon and evening, and then that diminishes, and we don't really have much more in the way of thunderstorms for western Washington. Some areas of eastern Washington, especially the northeast part of the state, may get some thunderstorms over the next couple of days, but nothing extraordinary. Now taking a look at temperatures. So we're looking here at today, Tuesday, June 24th, and you can see that we have highs from Seattle northward in the mid-70s to mid to upper 70s. There's maybe some low 80s in some of the mountain valleys. From Seattle southward today, you have highs in the upper 70s to low 80s and mid 80s around Portland, mid 60s on the coast. So it may remain a little bit colder if we have more persistent marine clouds. Going into Wednesday, you can see we start to cool down significantly across the lowlands there. Seattle northward in the mid to upper 60s, Seattle southward in the upper 60s to low 70s, mid 70s around Portland, low 60s on the coast. We cool down a little bit more on Thursday there with highs only in the mid 60s for most of western Washington, low 70s for the Willamette Valley, or for southwest Washington, the northern Willamette Valley, and then you can see on the coast highs in the upper 50s to low 60s. As we go into Friday, almost exactly the same as Thursday. They're mid 60s, maybe a few low 70s across the South Sound, and everywhere else remains pretty similar. And then take a look as we go into Saturday. That ridge starts building offshore that we talked about earlier in the video, and then we start warming up here. You can see highs in the low 70s from Seattle northward, mid to upper 70s Seattle southward, near 80s southwest Washington and Portland, and back into the mid 60s on the coast. Then take a look at Sunday. We warm up even more. You're looking at highs in the mid to upper 70s from Seattle northward, and from Seattle southward, there highs in the upper 70s to low 80s, mid 80s from Olympia and Shelton southward toward Portland, and then upper 80s around parts of southwest Washington from Kelso all the way down toward Vancouver and Portland there, and then on the coast, highs in the mid 60s, maybe a few low 70s inland. And then take a look at Monday. This looks to be the hottest day of this stretch here. You can see highs from Seattle northward in the upper 70s to low 80s, maybe some low 90s in some of those mountain valleys. And then you can see from Seattle southward there on Monday, you have highs in the mid 80s to maybe a few isolated low 90s in some of the valleys, but generally mid to upper 80s. And then from Kelso southward, you're looking upper 80s to low 90s, 91 there in Portland there on Monday. And then you can see on the coast, you're looking at highs in the mid 60s to low 70s, maybe even a few mid 70s out there. We start to cool down a tad bit there on Tuesday across parts of western Washington. You can see highs from Seattle northward in the upper 70s to low 80s, and then mid 80s or low to mid 80s again from Seattle southward, but a tad bit cooler than the previous day. You can see Portland down to the upper 80s instead of low 90s, and then the coast down to the mid 60s. And then we start to cool a little bit more as we go into next Wednesday, but we're looking over a week out at this point, so we'll keep watching this. But remember, it's looking like Monday and Tuesday will be those hottest days, but we will be nice and warm on Saturday and Sunday as well. Now, taking a look at our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, this is going into next week for July 1st to 7th. You can see above average temperatures across most of the west and northern tier of the country here, and a decent chance of above average temperatures for the northwest, and a very slight chance of above average precipitation. Take this with a grain of salt. This may change very quickly. You can see that monsoon signal, though, there across parts of Arizona and New Mexico and even a little bit of California there. So that will be interesting to watch for folks down there. But take this with a grain of salt for the Northwest in terms of above average precipitation or not. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather and follow me on Blue Sky, on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, and over on Twitter. The links to all of these are in the description below. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.